Hey Year 6 and welcome to Thursday's reading lesson. We're continuing our theme of poetry this week, but today we're looking at a different poem. Today we're looking at a poem called The Moment by Margaret Atwood. Let's read the poem. The moment when, after many years of hard work and a long voyage, you stand in the centre of your room, house, half-acre, square mile, island, country, knowing at last how you got there, and say, I own this, is the same moment when the trees unloose their soft arms from around you, the birds take back their language, the cliffs fissure and collapse, the air moves back from you like a wave and you can't breathe. No, they whisper, you own nothing. You were a visitor time after time, climbing the hill, planting the flag, proclaiming, we never belonged to you. You never found us. It was always the other way round. So let's have a look at some of the vocabulary used in there. So half acre, square mile, they're units of measurement. So a half acre, so 1 acre is approximately 60% of a soccer pitch. So half an acre is about 30% of a soccer pitch. The poet then goes on to say square mile. So you can imagine a mile and then it is squared, so that's a larger piece of land. The cliffs fissure and collapse. So this is telling us that the cliffs are eroding. A fissure is like a crack, like a saw, and they collapse. Proclaiming, we never belong to you. So proclaiming is announcing something officially, publicly, or you're indicating it clearly. Now we're going to go and read the poem again. The moment when, after many years of hard work and a long voyage, you stand in the centre of your room, house, half acre, square mile, island, country, knowing at last how you got there, and say, I own this, is the same moment when the trees unloose their soft arms from around you, the birds take back their language, the cliffs fissure and collapse, the air moves back from you like a wave, and you can't breathe. No, they whisper, you own nothing. You were a visitor time after time, climbing the hill, planting the flag, proclaiming, we never belonged to you. You never found us. It was always the other way round. So, now we've read the poem a couple of times and we've understood some of the language in it. What do you think this poem is about and what themes do you notice? Pause the video now to write down your ideas and then come back and join us for a discussion on the answer. Okay, so what were your answers? So this poem is about the poet realising and saying, if we look here, you stand in the centre of your room and then it gets bigger, the house, the square mile, the country. So the space is getting bigger each time. And the poet is saying, I own all this. So she owns the room, or he owns the room, the half acre, the mile, the island, the country. And she says, I own this. So and then the second verse, in the second verse, we're seeing what happens. As soon as you say you own this, what's happening? The trees take their arms from around you, so that's symbolising that they are not looking after you. The birds take back their language, so you can't understand them. The cliffs are fissuring, so nature is collapsing, and the air goes back from you, like you can't breathe. So nature is taking itself away from you now that you've said you owned it. And then in this last stanza, no, they whisper, you own nothing. So it's nature saying, no, you don't own us. You were a visitor. You come here, you plant the flag, like planting the flag on the moon or planting the flag on a new country that's discovered, proclaiming, so telling everyone, we own this. And then the last bit is saying really that nature never belonged to the person. You never found us. It was always the other way round. So the themes in this are nature and land size. And again, we go back to nature and land size and owning something. So they are the themes of this poem. So this is partnered talk. So if you've got someone to talk to, that would be great. If not, have a quiet think to yourself. Can you ever own land? And what do you think Margaret Atwood's, the poem, opinion is on this? So have a think to yourself. Can you ever own land? And why? Do you think, if you think yes, say why. If you think no, also say why. And what do you think Margaret Atwood's opinion is? And use evidence from the poem for that. Pause the video now to jot down your answers and then come back and join us for the discussion. So, can you ever own land? That's your opinion. My opinion on this is no, I don't think you can ever own land. You can buy land, but it's never really anybody's. When the world was created, nobody brought the world. So that's my opinion. And it's going to be different from all of your opinions. What do you think Margaret Atwood's opinion on this? So from this, I think the poet realises that you can't own land. And I think that's what she's saying in this poem, because her opinion changes throughout. At first, in this first stanza, she says she owns it. And by this last one, she's kind of saying, no, we don't own it. Nature owns us. Land owns us. Okay, they found us. And so I've used evidence from the text to say this. Because I can down here, we never belong to you, is saying that she thinks that you can't own the land. Did you spot those clues? Okay, so this is a bit of individual thinking, and we're looking at the line, no, they whisper, you own nothing. Why do you think Margaret Atwood uses the whisper here? Okay, so what kind of feeling does the word whisper give us when we read that? So if usually when we whisper something, we're being quite secretive, we don't want many people to know. So Margaret Atwood uses the word whisper here because it's nature just saying to us secretly. No, they don't want to shout. Nature, the land doesn't want to shout it out. They want you to know, but quietly, quite humble. So then what I want you to do is, how might the meaning change if you change whisper to roared, wept and laughed? So whisper is really quiet, and if we roar something, it's really loud. So if the land, nature, roared, you own nothing, it might symbolise in the poem that they're really angry and they're shouting at you. So that's one example. Try and do it with wept and laughed. How would, if you replaced whisper with wept, how would that change the way that nature's trying to get their message across? If they laughed, how might it change the poem? Pause the video, write your answers down, and then join us for the next question. Okay, so the last line then, it was always the other way round. What do you think this means? So we've already covered this when we looked at what the poem meant. So I want you to pause the video and write down what you think it means. Great, now you've wrote your answer. It was always the other way round is telling us that we didn't find the land, we didn't find the country found us. It was always there. What did you put? So this is the last task of today, it's your solo task. I want you to choose 3 lines of the poem and analyse their meaning. I'm going to choose lines 7, 8 and 9 for an example. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is the same moment when the trees unloose their soft arms from around you and the birds take back their language. Lines 7, 8 and 9. So I think these lines mean that nature is stepping away from humanity. Making the poet feel like they no longer understand and are no longer connected how they once were. Let's have a look. Analyse their meaning. I think these lines mean that nature is stepping away from humanity, making the poet feel like they no longer understand and are no longer connected how they once were. Okay, so I've said what I think they mean, and now I've got to evidence it in the text. So I'm going to add things here. I think these lines mean that nature is stepping away from humanity. I think this because it says the trees unloose their arms from around you, which gives the impression they aren't holding you anymore. Okay, so the first couple of lines then, the trees unloose their soft arms around you. I've said what I think it means, so I've made my point. I've evidenced it from the text, and then I've given my example, which gives the impression they aren't holding you anymore. That's just that line. So I've next got the second line. The birds take back their language. Let's have a look. Let's make this a bit smaller so we can see. They aren't holding you anymore. The poet also feels like they no longer understand because she says the birds can't type year 6, sorry. The birds take back their language. Because she says the birds take back their language. So I've made my point again. I've evidenced it, and the birds take back their language, and humans and nature are no longer connected how they once were. So that answer would get you all marks if that was in a test. Choose 3 lines and analyse their meaning. Remember, give your point, evidence it, and then explain. Good luck, Year 6, and I'll see you tomorrow.